Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 26 of the Void Frogs podcast. My name is Stiflerd, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, the Q Magnet, and one exceptional guest.
What is community? Beyond a location, it is a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Our guest today has made it his personal mission to not only create a community, but become a guiding light to those who are some of the most vulnerable. While the world may seem dark at times, our guest creates a home and a safety net to thousands of Minecrafters, and they in turn call him Father. Welcome to the show, the AutismFather of Minecraft family, Mr. Stuart Duncan!
Oh, thank you. That's definitely the best intro I've ever received. Thank you.
You're welcome,
Flattery
sir.
will get you everywhere.
My original intro for you was going to be like, he came from a distant planet
Called
and
Canada.
saved, and then it blew up, and then got bit by a radioactive spider and wore a bat suit and all this stuff.
Red and blue.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. It's the same.
No,
That's right.
No,
Red and blue
sure.
tights. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for both intros.
Yeah,
Too kind.
of course.
back in-
I'm glad that I got to do this one little tiny intro for you because you're such a great guy. Like, you are one of the nicest guys in the Minecraft community.
Thanks.
And I'm thrilled we get to chat with you today. I want to get into this, but and like who you are and everything, but I do just want to like double down on the fact that I actually got to chat with you. What was it, like a year ago or so?
Yeah. Well, earlier in, I don't remember, half a year ago or so. Wasn't the best circumstances at that time.
It wasn't, but it showed me that you genuinely, really, truly care about your community, about the community overall, and about the kids and players who experience Minecraft around the world. And since then, I have wanted nothing more than to be able to chat with you more and dig into your brain and learn about you. So I'm thrilled we get to do it today.
Yeah. Happy that it finally gets to happen.
Yeah. Awesome. So you are Stuart Duncan, the AutismFather.
bluegrass player.
I feel bad for that guy. I mean, he's a Grammy winner. I don't feel that bad for him, but there's images out there now with his face next to an autism quote, and he must be like, I never said that.
Oh.
Well, you just have to start like saying, I didn't get my Grammy.
Yeah, exactly.
Send it to my address, please.
Exactly. Where's my record sales? Come on.
That's hilarious.
People don't know what we're talking about. There's another Stuart Duncan who I was Googling your name, and I'm like, that doesn't look like you, but maybe you are good at the fiddle. I don't know.
No, there's a lot of Stuart Duncans. It just happens to be one that's really famous fiddle player, and
and the other famous one runs a server.
Well, I've never heard of that other guy. You're the only Stuart Duncan in my life.
Oh, that just means you don't get out enough, I think.
That might be true.
Why don't you give a short rundown of what you do in the Minecraft community, Stuart?
Don't know if that's possible, but so just over 7 years ago, I started a Minecraft server specifically for kids with autism and their families. I called it AutCraft. I know it's not very original, autism, Minecraft, AutCraft. But back then, I mean, that was like the golden age, I call it, of the YouTube Minecraft community when YouTubers were just starting, and all the kids saw the communities, these YouTube communities, they want to be a part of it, and the autistic children were being bullied and all the ones they tried to play. So I started a Minecraft server thinking, I'll just give them a place, because they couldn't just play together, like connect in Java version. You can't just connect to somebody else's computer. So they needed a place. So started a server, and I thought maybe I'll get a couple kids to play. And so 7 years later, there's over 12,000 kids from 150 different countries. And it kind of blew up really huge. So 7 years still going strong. Yeah.
Yeah. 12,000. My goodness.
12,500 now. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No wonder. I went to your website, And I looked at your application process, and it says at the top that there's a 2-week waiting list.
It can be up to 2. So there's been times we've been in the news, or TED Talk or something comes up, and we just get flooded. So at first we just put that disclaimer up whenever something like that did happen, but then we were like, we're just going to leave the disclaimer now because they come in pretty fast. We're listed so many different places now after 7 years that it's tough to keep up with them.
Yeah. And you've told that same story so many different times.
Yeah.
a lot of times. Yeah.
We've been watching a lot of your interviews, and this was something I was going to bring up later, but I'll bring it up now. Is like, how many interviews have you sat through people who are interested in autism, and they say, "What is Minecraft? Like, can you explain Minecraft?" And then, but with us, it's like, we know Minecraft. What is autism? Actually, I want to get into that, but is that like the question you like? Okay, here it is again. Yeah. Minecraft is a sandbox, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it happens a lot. There was mainly a transition period. Like you can almost do like a graph where like it was mostly autism, a little bit of Minecraft, and then it peaked and then it went down the other way. Because I started out as a writer writing about autism, and that's how I knew all these children were being bullied, because I had all those connections with the parents and readers and stuff. So for a long time it was, why does my kid talk about Minecraft all the time? Why do they want to play on your server? How do I even do this? What's a username? And all those kinds of questions. And eventually, as the server grew and I ended up being interviewed so much and everything, it kind of flipped. So now I'm being interviewed by like Mojang and stuff like that. And they're like, "Can you tell us about autism?" I'm like, that's different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice though, because it's kind of a nice flip, because I honestly, I'd rather be telling the world about autism than telling them about Minecraft.
That's kind of how I saw you, as like, in the Minecraft community, you're the autism guy. You've seen people come to you to try and understand what that is. And in the autism community, which I think you're pretty involved in, you're the Minecraft guy.
Yeah.
So you kind of wear two hats.
Yeah, when the odd time when there's still a parent out there who hasn't heard of my server, they'll go on like Facebook or whatever, and they'll be talking about their kids' interest in Minecraft and everything. And somebody in the comments will be like, "Have you heard of AutCraft? You should talk to AutismFather about it," and everything. And that's pretty cool to see too. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have more kids who go to their parents and ask to join your server, or are parents trying to learn about Minecraft, find out about you, and then tell their kids, "Hey, you should join this server"?
It's actually a pretty healthy mix. A lot of the whitelist applications are done by the kids with. You could tell they're done by the kids saying, "I did this and I played on this server," and then it'll have their parents' info at the bottom, and then it'll be like, "Hi, this is his mom. I have a question." So there's a lot of kids out there who are using their Google savvy, and they're using Google to search for autism-friendly Minecraft servers where they can play and not have to worry about that sort of stuff, and they're finding it and telling their parents. But then there's also parents who are searching for their kids to play in a safe place. They don't know anything about Minecraft, so they're searching. But the funny thing is actually a third group, and it's the therapists and pediatricians and teachers and counselors and stuff who are recommending AutCraft to their clients. And they're actually like coming to me saying, I want to play with my clients while we're doing sessions and stuff. Can we use your server for that? So it's been pretty surreal in that regard, because I mean, I'm just a dude in his living room who started a Minecraft server. I should be taking these kids who have issues and saying, "You should go talk to this therapist," but instead they're referring the kids to me. So it's kind of funny, but so it's kind of neat. We get to hear from a wide range of people.
Yeah,
that's very cool. That's something you said there. It just kind of clicked in my mind. This idea of kids with autism actively looking for servers for other kids with autism. And finding you, like in my mind, if I'm a kid, or the kids that I taught after school program, they just wanted to find servers. They didn't think about, and they were just like, I just want to play on any fun server. But you actually have kids with autism who are going and applying to, get on your whitelist because they want to be in that environment. And I don't know why, to me, that's like kind of a really unique and interesting thing, that they are self-aware and understanding, like just as kids, they're like, I want to be in this type of environment, so I'm going to apply to be on that server.
Safe place to be.
Yeah. And that is also Oh man, this like I'm kind of going way off on a tangent here. That's also a little sad, and because it's like, why are they looking for a safe place?
Yeah.
Why are they looking for a place where they feel accepted and encouraged if they aren't getting that elsewhere? And so now that's taken kind of a sad note. Hugh, can we get on a happier note for just a moment?
Actually, since you say that, I don't know if you guys knew, but every year I do a live stream, which started out as like 10 hours, then 12, then 24, and then the last one was 36.
Wow.
That was a world record, by the way, but I didn't get it for different reasons. But Guinness was watching. Yeah. Anyway, so
you're like eating dinner on stream and like
36 hours straight. I was in the back of a Best Buy in their technology on a 79-inch television. It was amazing.
Wow.
But anyway, so I started doing these live streams every Autism Awareness Day, April 2nd. And the primary focus of that was to explain to people that I wish that I never had to start my server in the first place. Because there shouldn't be a need for a safe place, right? Like all the servers should be safe places. Like it's kind of, I see it as one child is a problem, the other child is a victim, and instead of getting rid of the problem, you're getting rid of the victims. You're taking all the victims away from all these places and saying, here's this one place you can play safely. And I'm proud of the server and I'm proud of what we've done and how the kids respond and doing so well and everything. But there's a part of me that says it never should have been necessary in the first place. And so I started doing these live streams to explain that to the Minecraft community specifically, to tell them this is why I started the server and we can do better. Like, I'm doing my part, but I can't take care of everybody. I can't keep everybody safe. I can't make a Minecraft server for every group of children in the world that could use a safe place. So it was basically saying, I love my server, I love these kids, but I wish I had never had to do it in the first place.
Yeah. Wow. I need to check that out.
We're going to get into a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
What I would like to start off with, even though we're however many minutes in. Normally we ask where your name came from. I think your name is kind of self-explanatory, although you did start blogging first. Kinda. But your Minecraft skin, first of all, has anybody ever asked you about that in an interview before? I'm curious what it is.
In an interview, I don't know. The kids ask me all the time. My Minecraft skin is Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Oh.
The anime. He's a lot of people are like. It makes sense because he's a hero, but that's not why I chose Goku.
Right.
In one of the major story arcs, a big, huge story arc, this perfect android came along. And he was made up of all of the different fighters, so he was better than all of them, including Goku. And so they trained to beat this thing. And Goku realized that he didn't have the power to defeat this thing, even though he's the hero and the strongest of them all. His son had the potential. And he believed in his son, even though his son didn't believe in him and nobody else did. And so it was Dragon Ball Z is famous for, taking a long time to tell a story. But over the course of all these fights and all this sort of stuff, it was Goku who believed so passionately in his son that he got his son to believe in himself and unlock his hidden potential and reach a whole new level and actually end up defeating the thing and saving the day. And there was one iconic scene. His father actually died in the fight. Goku died. He was gone. And there was one point where his son was doubting himself even more because he let his father die and he failed and stuff. But then there's this iconic image where his father's actually behind him, like in ghost form, like see-through, behind him doing like the anime power, you put your hands up and do the power move behind him as if he was doing this blast with his son. But of course he wasn't actually there. But it was his belief in him that was giving him the extra energy. And that image to me was always extremely powerful. That just his belief in his son to give his son the power is why I decided to use Goku as my Minecraft avatar.
Most people pick a skin like, I look cool. You're like, well, there's this huge psychological reason is why I specifically picked. The only thing, I got one slight issue, Stuart.
Yeah.
You're Canadian, brother. My home. And you said a bad word. It's Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. I know. It's terrible, right? But
do not.
It's the name. It's what they say on television. I can't just change the name on them.
But American voice actors.
Yeah.
This man just gave a phenomenal inspirational story, and you're like, you said the wrong
I had to rain on the parade.
pronunciation.
I had to rain on the parade.
I do say Zed instead of Z when we're in calls with the players and stuff, and in
Aw.
live streams and stuff, and they always laugh at me because most of them are American.
I'd like to point out that one of us didn't judge you for your pronunciation.
Thank you.
So you're welcome to to come over to this side.
The other one didn't even ask you about your skin. So
well, okay. But I would like to say here, that is such a cool story because I maybe people don't know this. You have 2 sons, right?
Yes, I do.
And one of them has autism. And so you are the father. You are Goku.
That's right.
And encouraging your son. I'm like beaming over here the whole time you're telling that story.
That's where the name came from, cool. AutismFather. Before I started the server, when I was writing, this was back in like early 2010. There was lots of blogging happening with parenting and with autism at the time, but they were all moms. Almost 100% were moms writing about it. And so I wanted to differentiate myself, but you can't do that with just any old name. I couldn't just pick a name. So I decided, AutismFather. That way, nobody's ever going to mistake me for a mom writing from a mom's perspective. And it actually helped. It boosted my readership because people wanted to hear from a dad from a change. So
interesting.
The coming up with a name isn't nearly as exciting as coming up with a skin.
No. Okay, so the main topic I want to cover, and you've probably been asked this a million times, but for me, also a father, but have never really experienced autism close up personally or anything like that. The main picture I get of it is the Hollywood image of the savant, which is
right.
I know it's not accurate.
Rain Man and the Good Doctor. And
exactly. I saw a couple of your videos where you were explaining it in characters explaining it.
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain what this? I don't even know. Is it a disease? Is it a syndrome? Like I don't really have a lot of knowledge on it.
It's a disorder, a mental disorder, and a lot of people don't even like that word, but it's actually a very accurate word with autism, more so than most others. And that's because if you were to take a brain scan right now yourself, head off to the hospital, take a brain scan, see the electrical activity, it's going to look pretty typical. But if you were to take a brain scan of myself or my son Cameron, the one that has autism, or any other person that has autism, you're going to see a lot more electrical activity. And some people you'll just see tons. For the people that you see just widespread electrical activity inside their brains at all times, they're the ones who can't speak. They're the ones who are never going to be independent. They're the ones who scream a lot. They might even hurt themselves quite a bit. The ones that have more electrical activity, but centered in like one specific location, they're more likely to be your savants who can do pi to 25,000 places. There's one guy that can, David Tennant. Not David Tennant. I don't remember his name. Something. Anyway, so that's the main crux of what autism really is physically, is hyperactivity in the brain, electrical activity all over the place. And that can manifest in, they call it a spectrum, because no two people are the same. So that electrical activity can make it so you feel severe pain from the clothing you wear to no pain if you lose a limb. You can be hypersensitive to sights, sounds, all your senses. You can get really emotional really, really quickly, like super happy when you're happy and really angry when you're angry. It can make it really difficult to communicate, kind of like ADHD, where your mind is constantly in flux and changing and thinking about things. And so when somebody's talking, by the time they get to the second sentence, you've lost what you wanted to say because it's no longer relevant. And so you kind of cut in and then you're awkward, and it makes communications extremely difficult, which is what most people think about when they think about autism. They're not going to be social. They're not going to communicate well. They're not going to seek out friendships. They hate the phone, stuff like that. I fit into all those categories. I pretty much, but aside from interviews and the text on the screen in my Minecraft game, I don't really talk to people. But yeah, it's a really, really wide spectrum from people who will be in an institution for their entire lives or living with their parents their entire lives, to savants who, one guy, he can fly over a city like New York in a helicopter for 45 minutes and then sit down for 3 days on a giant piece of paper and draw it out window for window.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he's amazing. So autism is a super huge, wide spectrum, but for the most part, they're just kids wanting to be kids.
Yeah.
And so they sign on to a Minecraft server, and if something goes wrong, they might react in extremes. They might get way more angry than what you think a typical person should get angry. And that's what a bully would, target. And as soon as they see that, they want to see how far they can push it.
Mm.
And that's...
There's this thing I've noticed, and probably a lot of people notice, like maybe since social media started becoming more and more prevalent in our lives, it seems like autism has, I don't know, it seems like we have way more cases of autism, but maybe they were never diagnosed in the past, but it just seems like it's a lot more prevalent now.
I was diagnosed at 36. Yeah. And that's true.
Oh.
Like, people know what to look for now, but also people are more aware because of Rain Man and The Good Doctor and all that sort of stuff. It's just people know the word. They don't necessarily know what they're looking for or anything, but they know the word.
Yeah.
But also teachers know. Teachers are being trained on that sort of thing. Pediatricians. Sure. When I went to get my son diagnosed, he was 2, just about to turn 2. I recognized it. My doctor did not. He said he'll be fine. He'll just talk later. And I said, no, I insist on getting an assessment for him. And he's like, no, he'll be fine. So then after he turned 2, I went back and said, okay, he's older than 2 now. He says, okay, I'll make you a referral. You can go in, but I'm pretty sure he's fine. And turned out he had autism. So then when I went back to see my doctor, I brought him an actual book on autism. I said, you should probably read this. So that's where, yeah. So my grandmother actually asked me the same question once.
Yeah.
She's like in her 70s. She says, why do more people have autism now than they used to? I said, well, Grandma, when you were in school, long time ago, when you were in school, did they have a special ed class? And she said, actually, they had a trailer. It was separate from the school. It was like in the schoolyard. It was a trailer, and that's where all the kids went. And I said, what were those kids diagnosed with? She said, I don't know. I said, did they call them slow? She said, yeah, they were the slow kids. And I said, slow is not a diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
There's no mental condition or medical condition or anything called slow. So how many of those kids do you think had autism?
Yeah.
Right.
I wondered, I don't want to take too much time on this, but it is interesting to me because I'm learning a lot about this.
Oh, my pleasure. Like I said, I'm happy to talk about this. I talk about Minecraft all the time.
Yeah. Is it related to, certain things that are in our food diet these days that weren't back there, or is there no connection there? Or
there's no connection. It's a hereditary thing. Like when twins are born, if one of them has autism, the other one very, very likely does. Like 99% of the time. Like in my case, if a man has it, chances are his sons are going to have it. It's very hereditary, and it's mostly they found in boys, but it's also in girls too. It's just they haven't been able to track it down as well because girls tend to hide it much better. And so,
interesting.
So as they learned what to look for there, the diagnosis rates go even higher. So now they're finding even more autism. It's like, no, now they know what to look for in girls. So the numbers are going to go up. And then, like I said, I was diagnosed at 36. Right. So now the rates are going way up because now more and more adults are like, my child was diagnosed and I've been the exact same in my childhood. Can I get a diagnosis? So now the rates are going up again. So yeah, it's been around for as long as humanity's been around. Right. Temple Grandin, who's way famous, she's really famous autism person. She used to say, like, if it wasn't for autistics, people with autism, then humanity would still be in caves, hunting animals with a stick. There wouldn't be, people figuring out how to make tools and working with their hands and stuff rather than, being social. So I don't know how accurate that is. Obviously, nobody's been around then, but I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about because a lot of the times when you think about the higher careers in engineering, science, mathematics, and stuff like that, there's a lot of autistic people in there. Yeah. They don't socialize as much. They're focusing on their craft.
Could you also, help me understand, because you mentioned ADHD and you mentioned focusing on craft and savants and this wide spectrum
Very wide
of
spectrum. Yeah.
what autism is. I know there's, high functioning and all of this,
Not
right?
really. The high
There's
functioning, low functioning thing is a bit of a myth because there's people who can't
oh
speak and can't use a toilet, but they're very intelligent. And there's been some who have actually found a way to communicate with like a touchpad or, pictures, if they can press on the pictures, whatever, and they're
yeah.
actually very intelligent. It's just they can't get their mind and body to connect. So high functioning and low functioning is kind of misleading in
Oh,
a bit. So
oh,
like I said, spectrum.
yeah, I really appreciate you saying that and educating me on that. I would love to learn more about that. I actually learned that phrase. This is again like another tangent, but I'm just so enthralled by what you're saying right now. I learned that phrase from somebody who said that they were high functioning autistic,
Yeah.
and they described it in that way.
Mhm.
Now, I guess what's the term is neurotypical.
Yeah.
Is what's often used.
Yeah.
And
You have a typical mind, regular electrical activity and such.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if these words are like wrong to use or
No,
not.
no, you're fine.
But if I'm talking, and somebody comes to me and they say that they are high functioning autistic, is it important to point out that that's a myth, or should it just be like, that's how they describe it, and so just let it go?
I think it's more important just for yourself internally to recognize, and this is something that I've been trying to explain to people is when you hear the terms high functioning and low functioning, high functioning that just subconsciously causes you to ignore people's struggles, to think that they don't have issues they have to deal with. And
Oh,
low functioning causes you to be blind to their strengths, to the things that they can do, because then you're only thinking about the struggles that they have to endure every day.
yeah.
So it's not so much that you have to correct them or anybody else. It's just to be consciously aware that just because I might say I'm high functioning and I live in a house and I have kids and everything doesn't mean that I'm going to go out and just start talking to people. It doesn't mean I have real life friends. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean I want my phone to ring so I can talk to somebody, because I really don't. Actually, that's the other thing too. When you have autism, you really want your phone to ring because everybody wants somebody to want to talk to you. But when the phone
Yeah.
rings, you're like, I really don't want to answer that.
Yeah.
um,
You want
so
to be like, oh, I missed all these messages.
yeah, exactly. I'm gonna text you back as soon as it's done ringing. Don't think that means that you can call me again. Um, so yeah, it's not so much you have to correct anybody because that's what they've been told and that's what they know, and many of them are proud to be high functioning, and some of them want people to know that they really struggle, and so they explain that they're low functioning.
Yeah.
But it's just in your own mind is to remember that high functioning doesn't mean you don't have your issues, and low functioning doesn't mean that you don't have some amazing qualities.
That's a great way of putting it. That's cool. Well, so I was bringing that up because of this the wide variety there, the spectrum, and also you mentioned ADHD, and the savants it reminds me of like Asperger's. Is there a relationship there between autism, ADHD, Asperger's? Is there a connection there at all?
Yeah. A lot of savants in the world also have autism, but
Okay.
not all. You don't. It's not a prerequisite. There's a lot of savants in the world that don't have autism. They don't have any kind of disorder or anything. They're just exceptionally smart for whatever reason. Their
Hmm.
photographic mind or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a 100% connection, but typically, yeah,
Okay.
a lot of the savants you're going to end up watching or hearing about are autistic savants. But autism comes with a huge laundry list of they call it comorbid, which is very dark, but
Hmm.
uh, other relatable disorders and things. So like epilepsy, sensory processing
Yeah.
disorder, ADHD, quite a few other things. Like a lot of autistics, when they reach their teens and start going through puberty, develop epilepsy, and they have seizures all the time.
Hmm.
Most of them never even know it because they're micro seizures. You never even really notice that you're having them. But it happens in like, I don't know, I think it was like 60 to 70% of autistic teenagers end up having that too. So
Hmm.
like when you have that much electrical activity going on in your mind, it's going to come along with some other, other catches,
Sure.
like being sensitive to lights and noises and things, and having ADHD, you're constantly distracted because your mind is thinking about a million things at once. So
yeah. Well, okay, so that great answer. That helps me understand some things, and it also brings up my next question. There with your server, it's AutCraft. It's for people on the spectrum, kids, but I think there's also adults who play on your server.
I wouldn't be able to run it if I didn't have adults join and help me. We had two people last week, 2 whitelist applications last week from people in their 60s.
Wow.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
So
That's cool.
So we have the entire range. Actually, one of our senior helpers that has just stopped playing because her grandkids have just stopped playing. So she's a grandma and she's just
grandkids.
So, yeah.
That's cool. That's super cool. Well, so do you also have people joining who are diagnosed with ADHD or other conditions?
There's been a few times where there isn't even a condition at all. But if the whitelist application, they're like, I don't know what else to do. I need a place where I can play, and you can just sort of, I don't know. I always said I go by gut instinct because I don't require a certificate. I don't require a medical or anything. I just go by their word.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times you can go by your gut instinct. You can see that there are people who just really need a place like this. And sometimes it's from the parents who are like, I've tried and my kid is just so brokenhearted. They've broken their keyboards because they get so angry at the things that they could say and stuff. And I could be like, no, autism only, but I can't turn them away if they need it. So there's been times. And then, when I started it right from day one, the very, very first thing I ever said about it was that it's for people with autism and their families.
Yeah.
So, if they're siblings or their parents or whoever wants to play, or even if they're friends, if they have one friend in the whole world, I'm not going to say they can't play. So I just sort of extended that a little bit to say, if somebody is really lonely and they have nobody else to play with or whatever, then guess what? You're part of our family now. Come and play.
That's cool. That's cool. I love it. And I know that people love being a part of your community. I haven't heard anything bad, although you've been running the server for so many years. I'm sure that with that comes certain amount of
drama.
Things that happen.
There's drama.
Yeah. But I've heard so many people say so many amazing things about you, and even YouTubers that I want to talk about here in a little bit. It's just so cool to see that all of these people can come together and be a part of your family. It's great.
Your name
great
gets
stuff.
around because the reason I contacted you is because you were recommended by our friend Ellie Beatmaker, who was a past guest. So you got another fan out there.
Ellie, I'm a fan of Ellie. Ellie's just amazing. For as long as I've been doing my server, Ellie's been doing amazing music for YouTubers and stuff. So I'm a fan. That's very kind.
Ellie comes up so often when we're talking with people. I want to bring up somebody else though, because I just learned something right before the show, before you joined the call queue, that Stuart here he knows Adam Clark, Wizard Keen, who was also a past guest. And you helped. You were collabing with him on the book. He on his book,
a life hacks with Minecraft.
Yeah.
So it's all like dealing with insecurity or depression or motivation, all these different things. But it's all from a Minecraft perspective. And he reached out to a bunch of YouTubers and people that he's dealt with, talked with, and made connections with. And I was one of them. He came and asked if I can give him a blurb to put in there. So I'm on one of the pages in his book. Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it's a nice
cool
honor. It's a nice honor to be included in that.
Yep. Most definitely. Well, you have done so many things as well, and
been busy.
You've been busy. We tried to get you on a few weeks ago, and you were like, 7-year anniversary, and we have a Pride event that's going on, and all of this stuff is happening all at once.
My birthday, AutCraft's 7th birthday, the Pride event plus Pride all month. Plus, a lot of people don't know we actually have a second server, a sister server. It's called AutCraft Obsidian, and it's for people 15 and up, because a lot of the people we found, especially 15 to 22, they don't want to say anything vulgar or inappropriate or anything, but they just don't want to have to constantly be thinking about what they're saying so that it's okay for a 6-year-old to hear. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't want to have to be second guessing everything that you're going to say. So we ended up making a place just to be safe, extra safe for them, that they could do this stuff and talk about the music that they want to, and the movies and the video games that are not rated E for everyone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was that server's 5th birthday, and it was also doing a Pride event. And
Wow.
it had other stuff. So this past June was our busiest month so far out of all 7 years. Yeah.
Nice. Well, happy birthday to you, AutCraft Obsidian, everything going on.
Crazy. Yeah.
I know Q is over there looking at things, and I don't want to keep asking questions. I feel like I'm asking so many questions.
Well, we kind of skipped. I was gonna ask you about just Minecraft, like.
Yeah,
like
you
are no disrespect, but you are of the older generation,
indeed.
And before AutCraft and
games.
all that sort of stuff, you decided one day to pick up Minecraft. What made you want to do that? Was that your kids who got you into it, or?
I've always been a gamer. I'm old enough that I remember having my first Atari and ColecoVision and all that sort of stuff. But nice. I've had them all. I had the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and all.
I love how you said ColecoVision, and like 90% of the audience can be like, "What?
What?"
Maybe more percent than that.
I know. There'll be some people who will look that up now. But I've always been a gamer. I used to go to the arcades. Remember the quarter arcades? You put the quarters in the machines and stuff.
Yes, we used to have to pay per quarter to play.
Per quarter per game. Yeah, and it was the ultimate hustle, because you wouldn't die. You would just hit if you want to continue, put in another quarter screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So $20.
Exactly. And so anyway, so I've always been a gamer. And then I had kids, so I continued being a gamer, but now I was introducing them to kids. And funny story, side story, my son's occupational therapist, because he has autism, he had really difficult time with gross motor controls, like holding things, like holding a cup and holding whatever.
Huh.
And so I actually handed him a Wii remote at the time with Mario Kart, and showed him that all he had to do was press one button, just hold it down, and just tilt the thing a little bit in order to steer. And it took him like 3 months or so, but he ended up winning every race he started playing. And so he mastered his gross motor control skills using
That's awesome.
Wii remote. So anyway, so awesome. years go on, years go by, and people are talking about this Minecraft cave game, and I don't get it. I don't understand it, but I keep checking it out because people are talking about it. And then 2012, it came out on Xbox, the original Xbox. It came out, and so I introduced it to my kids.
Xbox 360.
Was it 360?
I don't think it was on originally. Anyway,
but it was 2012. So by then it was a fully fleshed out game. So before that, I didn't understand it, but then it was fully fleshed out, released on the Xbox. We got it, and we started building stuff together, and we had a lot of fun. They would go to school and then come back, and I'd have like a whole new farm or add-on.
While you guys were in school,
and then they loved it though. They were super excited about it. I really I got a kick out of that, building something to show them. And so, by 2013, that's when I started hearing from other parents and stuff. So I didn't even play it on the computer then. I certainly never had a Minecraft server then or anything like that. But I love the game, and I love the kids, all kids with autism. If I could help, I want to help. And I just saw all these parents saying, I wish there was a place where my kids could play without having to worry about bullies. And I kept saying, why wish for it? I mean, you could just do it.
Just do it.
So at $2.50 at a hosting company, and I started a server, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah. But had you ever gotten involved in servers before this?
I was a web developer before.
Right.
So nice. I was working with servers in more of a website capacity. But I had the technical know-how and stuff like that. Like I originally wanted to build my own website and everything for it too, but then it blew up as the moment I posted about it. So I had to use a third-party place instead of building my own. But
for people who aren't, because I watched the TED Talk and all that sort of stuff, people aren't aware. Stuart got like 750 emails off of just sharing a Facebook link to your friends or something like that.
To my friend, I had I don't know, 350 friends or something on Facebook, and so I shared it to just my friends list, and I got 750 emails in the first 2 days. and it probably would have been more than that, but my ISP cut off my access to the email server. They said I called them up and they said, well, you can't be running a business out of your house. And I said, I'm not running
Oh,
a business.
really? Is that what they?
Yeah, they said that's way too many emails for a residential person to be. So I had to switch that to an actual hosting company.
Right.
Dang.
But yeah, so it literally, the moment I posted it, I've been busy ever since.
Well, yeah, and you went all the way up to the largest plan within a week or so.
8 days. Yeah, from $2.50. I thought I could do that, and then 8 days later, it was the $80 a month plan.
Gosh, now 7 years in, 12,500 players across 150. That's insane. That's just wild.
Yeah, we have people in Japan and South Africa. We just got an application yesterday from Turkey. We have
wow.
Yugoslavia.
How does that work with I don't know if I want to call it the English barrier, but do you have
localization?
English only is one of the rules on the server. They have to be able to speak. They can be from any country, but they have to be able to speak English. Otherwise, how do we keep them safe if we don't know what they're saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have the money to be hiring people that speak all the different languages and such. So if money was no object, I'd have I'd have servers all over in all the countries to accommodate everybody, but I just don't.
Hey, speaking of money being no object, everybody out there that we share this video to, Stuart is an amazing guy, and I want you all to try and donate to his cause here. How can they donate to you, Stuart?
Patreon is the big one, but that's a monthly thing, so I don't expect everybody to do it. But like, if you could give like $1, like imagine, like I like to say, like if I could imagine all 12,000 people that have joined the server all to give $1 a month, right? How much that would add up to?
That'd be
so people don't have to give a lot, just like $1. It's like it lets you put in any amount you want. So it's patreon.com/AutismFather. But then there's also the one-time donation option, which is directly through PayPal, which is paypal.me/AutCraft.
Yeah. I wanted to throw that out for you because I saw your videos. There's a lot of you defending yourself, saying, this is why I have to do this. This is why I have to do with it. Yeah. I get it. I just want to spread your name out there because there's a lot of entertainers. There's a lot of map makers, a lot of, people who are running servers that are like Hypixel and all that sort of thing. You are doing something that no one else is doing. Is there another autism Minecraft server?
There have been some that have come and gone since, but no, that's it. Like once they all, like a lot of people have really great intentions and they want to be able to do the same thing, or they think they could do better. Some have, but they don't realize how much work is really involved. Like even some of the past admins that we've had years ago, who helped out on the server, they worked tirelessly and they did great work and everything. But eventually they decided that they wanted to have their own. They wanted to do their own thing and help kids wherever they are.
Right.
Yeah. It didn't last long because they didn't realize how much work was actually involved in being a server owner on top of just being in the game and an admin.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work, especially when you consider that a lot of it is talking to depressed and even suicidal kids a lot of the times, or feeling lonely, or like nobody. I mean, especially with autism, right? They feel like the number one thing is nobody understands me. Right?
Yeah.
So you're dealing with that a lot. So a lot of the times it can get really mentally draining, being on the server, not just fun and games and stuff. It's we're not therapists or anything. We just all we ever do is like just listen and talk, relate, because I can relate. I have autism. But we can't give therapy or anything, but just talking to these kids or just letting them vent to us for a little while, after like, a couple days of various kids doing that, you're just so drained. It's so tiring. But then you have to, as owner, you have to go, all right, well, got to get some whitelist applications done, and I got to get the plugins working, and I got to do this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. You're in a position, and you have to have a certain amount of passion and excitement and love for what you do. Otherwise you wouldn't do it. But you are in a position where, you are probably, I would imagine, putting in 50, 60 hours a week on this or more.
I wish that was all that I did.
I don't know how
nobody else is doing it
on the show. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I know.
when I had my full team, I was doing 120 hours a week. Yeah, and now one of them is on break. So For the last 8 weeks now, I've been on the server working from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sometimes 12 p.m., but usually
Wow.
11. So that's an 18-hour day.
Yeah.
I would kind of skip this, and I just based on your videos, I kind of know, but maybe just explain. It's a survival server,
Yes.
or are you doing mini games and things too?
I mean, survival will get old, but there's also some good team building and something to be said about playing some mini games and stuff. We have no PvP, so the mini games we choose to have are like Spleef and
Yeah.
hide and seek. We have paintball, which is probably the closest you'll get, but I mean it's throwing snowballs at each other.
Yeah.
Games like that, parkour. So we have a few, but it's not a minigame server. So sometimes kids will join and go, "Wow, this sucks. There's only like 6 minigames." There's like, well, it's not a minigame server.
No.
Yeah.
It's just a
Build
few
the
things.
town.
But we also added in a couple of years ago a creative server through Bungee Cord, so you can bounce back and forth
Cool.
between the two, but they're separate. For a long time, the first few years, everybody says you have to have creative. You have to have creative. I only play in creative. I don't want creative. And I said, you really don't. And they're like, don't tell me what I want. I want creative. So then we ended up adding creative, and like 3 or 4 people are over there at a time, anytime.
Yeah.
So they want to be on survival with everybody. So, but yeah,
Yep.
it's primarily survival, which is great because we get all the kids to go do great big digs together and great big builds together, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, you've had some really cool stuff going on over there, and I would love to talk about a few specific things. But one, you have Player of the Week. Is that what it's called? Player of the Week?
Yeah.
What's that about? And who you just actually chose the Player of the Week yesterday. If you want to shout them out, you can go ahead. But what's the Player of the Week about?
Prince Zuko got Player of the Week.
Zuko. Good job. We're going to put in a round of applause for you right there. Zuko.
I mentioned briefly, I guess, sort of in my TED talk when I did that was, the thing that makes AutCraft safe is that we monitor it all the time. I'm constantly watching. I have console on my screen right now. I'm watching the chat go by. So, I mean, it just occurred to me that while you're watching for the bad stuff, you should be watching for the good stuff too. Watch for people who are generous and kind and have talks with people, or people who can settle arguments without having a mute command or any of that stuff. And those are, like I said, if it wasn't for the adults joining, I wouldn't be able to do this. It's because I watch those adults and I'm like, you're really great with all the kids, not just your own. Would you be interested in helping out? So we started coming up with things like CBAs, which are caught being awesome, which you're given points if you're caught being awesome. Player of the Week, it goes to the players who are, consistently awesome that week, who are very kind, who give tours to new players, who, when somebody says they're lonely or they want somebody to play hide and seek with, they'll actually go, they'll drop whatever they're doing and go. But there's also, some kids who join in and they don't know how to do multiplayer. They've never played with other kids before on a server or maybe even in real life. And so they'll spam or they'll get angry, or things come up that we have to either mute them for or talk to them for or whatever. But then, a week will go by and it's like, we haven't had a problem with them. Like, they were actually being nice to this other person, and, they gave this new player some diamonds, and we haven't had any mutes or anything. And so we'll actually do Player of the Week and say, this person did a really great job. They struggled when they first joined, but now, they're doing really, really well, and we'd love to see more of it. So they get Player of the Week, and then they get 400 points to use in the store to buy, more things like spawn eggs and stuff.
Nice.
So it's rewarding good behavior. Like, a lot of the servers have authority type ranks, moderator and stuff like that. But we wanted ours to be reflective of the good qualities in them. So we have a buddy rank for people who do go and play with lonely people. They're friends. Cool. They do that often. So they get a buddy rank, which allows them to teleport more and to heal each other with a command and stuff like that. And then there's the helper rank, which allows them to do even more. But they can even mute people who are spamming or who get really angry and might start insulting somebody. And we always tell people that, they're being muted for their own protection, so nobody gets mad at them. If they get so mad and angry at like parkour or something that they start saying, I suck, I'm a loser, I hate you, blah, 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 then they get muted just so that everybody else doesn't get upset with them. And that rank goes to kids. They're kids who are muting each other, taking care of the server, because we watch them being so good and so responsible, respectful. And then their helper, and then their senior helper, which are adults and admins. So
Yeah.
everything that we do on the server is all geared towards rewarding people for good behavior.
That's super cool. That's super cool. I love that. I love that you are taking the concept of having moderators and all that, but you're changing it around and using it for your community to reinforce those same ideas. That's so great. I love it.
Yeah, it's they're taking care of themselves. I'm not bringing in a force of people in white coats to take care of all the autistic kids.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
autistic kids being there and looking out for each other. It's great.
Which has got to make them feel empowered and confident
I've
and
written
encouraged.
I've written reference letters for some of them who said, I'm going out for my very first job ever, and I'm a helper on AutCraft. Could you write a letter? And I'm like, yeah, I'll write a letter.
That's so cool, man. You're there.
Yeah.
I know a lot of server owners. I've gotten to know a lot of server owners over the years, and there's a lot of great ones, but even the ones who are very involved in their communities, I haven't heard that sort of thing, that you're writing reference letters for people, that, you are actively being involved in these people's lives for 18 hours a day.
Yeah. 7 years with no holiday. It's important. It means a lot to them. I've had kids who joined in 2013, very nervous, very upset because they're going to be starting high school soon. And I would talk to them every single day. And, one of them came back last Christmas after being away for a little while. And he says, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm like, what for? He said, well, when I joined, I was nervous about high school, but now I've graduated, got into college, and I just found out that I was approved to get a job at his dream job, which is at Lego.
Wow.
Lego.
So, yeah, he went to high school, he went to college, and now he's got his dream job at Lego headquarters. And he came back to thank me because he said, if it wasn't for AutCraft, none of it would have happened. So
that's so cool.
I mean, certainly makes me feel old, but also pretty proud.
The Coleco vision, does that help too?
Yeah, exactly. I had Lego too when I was a kid with my Coleco vision.
You know what? I don't think Lego is a fair comparison to Minecraft more, because when we grew up, when I say we, me and you, Stuart, we grew up, it was about using your imagination. But now all it is, I'm going to build the thing on the box. I'm going to build the Marvel thing.
It comes with specific shapes that go in specific places to match the instructions that are in the box. Yeah, it used to be just a box of just random shapes, and good luck making whatever you come up with.
I don't think my kids have. I mean, I've bought them like 25 different Lego sets, but I don't think they've built anything other than what was on the instructions, come to think of it.
Yeah, that's because all the shapes that come in it are specifically set for that design. So
I taught a Lego club, an after school club. It was Lego, and all the kids every week they got a box, and I think there were 2 kids out of 20 or so that they would finish their build of the box and then take it all apart and try to build something else, while the others would just build the thing on the box and then fly it around or drive it around or whatever. And it's cool to see the different approaches, but yeah, it's definitely different than it was. Because I grew up that same time, Q Magnet. It's not just you and Stuart. I'm not that much younger than you. Yeah, I got a gray hair in my beard. Look, you can see it.
You don't even have. This is the
it's right there.
Before, during, and after photo.
Is that right?
It's pretty accurate.
There's something on this sheet about a TARDIS, and I never saw this on Stifler Bro. What's the TARDIS on the server?
So we have buddy, helper, senior helper, and admins. Actually, we've just recently added a new one called Apprentice, which are kind of like helpers, but they're more specifically geared towards helping out the admins with projects around the server. Anyway, so we got all these different ranks, and we're constantly adding and changing, and people stop playing and stuff. But the just imagine, like, the server started out and grew fast, and now we're at 12,000 people, so we have a big staff list.
Yeah.
So I kept putting walls up at spawn, and we would put the heads of the people up on the wall with a sign that says who they are, so new players come in, they can see who the admins are and senior helpers and everything else. But I just had to keep changing it. So finally, one year when I built a brand new spawn, I said, I gotta do something about this. Like, what can I put here that's just gonna have infinite space that I could just keep on adding to? And I thought,
TARDIS.
TARDIS. so I built a nice big blue TARDIS in the middle of the spawn, and when you walk in, it actually teleports you to a much bigger area,
Bigger
and
on
then
the inside.
bigger on the inside, and it's forever expandable. So yeah, it came out of necessity basically. I just needed something that I didn't have to keep replacing every year to make bigger. Yeah.
Now, how many
I
kids don't know that reference?
Oh yeah,
everybody knows that reference now, don't they?
I gotta ask,
hope so.
Who is Stuart Duncan's doctor of choice?
David Tennant. He
was on your mind earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I still can't remember the name of the other guy. He's close to the same. But anyway, David Tennant, at the same time that he came about was when the Sherlock series came out. Oh, yeah. And so there was a lot of similar, like David Tennant's doctor, when he appeared on the screen, the first 2 minutes of the episode, he had everything figured out. And he was charming about it and, just had fun with it. And then the end of the episode, it all come wrapped up and you're like, oh, okay. And then you go back and watch it again. And you're like, yeah, he totally knew what was going on the whole time. And then Matt Smith came along. He's a bumbling idiot. He had no idea what was going on.
Poor guy.
See, I didn't like David Tennant at the first episode. He's my favorite doctor now. I like Christopher Eccleston. And then he didn't want to do the show. And then David, who's this guy?
Yeah. Nobody knew.
I'm like, I don't want any other doctor after David Tennant.
But he also had the best acting chops, right? Yeah. So when he came into the show and he started crying or, had real emotional scenes and stuff, out of all of them, I think he had the most power as far as believability and stuff. So David Tennant.
Yeah. Wasn't he just a big fan of Doctor Who?
He was, yeah.
And then he got that was his first acting audition.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of Peter Capaldi, because he was the president of the Doctor Who fan club.
He used to write into the show and stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Wild.
Anyway,
wild.
Doctor Who podcast here.
So we got a few minutes before we got to move on, but we do have I've got a few other questions here, and I know Q, bring it in, man. Let's bring it in.
What do you want? What do you want from me?
What do you got?
There's one thing that is kind of, I know you're super busy, and you've said this in multiple interviews, saying like, if you see there's a need for a particular server, you do it.
Right.
The thing the thing I'm curious about, you said, I think the Xbox version was your first version,
right?
Which is morphed into the Bedrock platform.
Yeah.
Is that ever a route that you are going to try to get involved in, or is Java your thing?
Absolutely. I would love to. Most people, when you buy a computer now and you press the start menu, there's Minecraft right there, but it's the Bedrock edition.
Yeah.
So parents don't know that there's Minecraft.net on the internet to go to get the Java version. They don't know that. Yeah. So it's, I laughed way back in the day when they announced it, and Mojang said that, we're never going to kill Java. We're not going to, we're going to continue. I said, you don't have to kill Java. It's just going to die.
Yeah.
Because people are going to buy a new computer and install the Bedrock edition because it's right there.
Yeah.
But the problem is Bedrock edition is very locked down. There's still no real plugin support. I can't really keep the kids safe the way that I can on Java. Right. Matter of fact, this April, we actually had a couple of Mojang employees come on the server. They were our special guests, and we were talking to them about a lot of this stuff. They actually loved one of the features that I came up with on AutCraft so much that it's in the 1.16 version now.
Oh,
what's that?
It's line spacing. So,
I've heard this story. It's very really interesting.
We had a player that was losing his vision.
Yeah.
And overnight, I worked with a developer to come up with a plugin that would let you space out the lines or separate them with dashes or something. And it highlights your name when somebody says your name. So it's easy to spot, and a couple other features and stuff. And so when they joined, they were like, wait, you can separate the lines? I said, yeah, show it to them. And then the next snapshot was a line spacing option.
That's cool.
So anyway, so I was talking to them about Bedrock, and they're like, yeah, there's no way you could do this on Bedrock.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But the good news is that there's really brilliant people out there. One of them is Geyser MC.
Yeah.
They're making tools that will allow you to connect from your Bedrock client to a Java server.
Yep. They were they were picked up by CubeCraft. CubeCraft picked up Nook at X, and then and we talked about that here on the show. Zed was on with us, and he talked about that getting Nook at X, and then like a week or two later, they picked up Geyser MC. So now Geyser even has like funding from CubeCraft to be able to develop that
I'm
even
excited
better.
about it. It's not.
Yeah.
I can't start pushing that sort of thing as a viable option yet, but I'm excited about where it's heading. So,
yep.
But it's Microsoft,
cool.
right? Microsoft, they support the community, but they don't want to give free rein to the community. They want to keep their marketplace dollars coming in and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's only so much that I can do. Like they actually approached me one time. They offered to help out if I was a nonprofit, which I'm not. So they said what we could do is we can offer you a realm so that you can have free hosting. And I said, a realm has 10 players.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. You don't realize how many people. Hey, by the way, how many people? I know you've had 12,000 size whitelist. How many people are kind of on a regular daily?
At peak times, middays, about 50 people on.
Wow.
When we have events or even player of the week and stuff, it could be up over 100.
Yeah.
And I wanna just point out a little thing here. You're not botting yourself. This is actual players.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all real players from around we have people in Australia who are up at like 4 a.m. to be part of our events and stuff in the middle of my day. Yeah.
That's very cool. I'm bringing that up as like a little jab at some server owners out there who have been botting. They've been botting. They're got a bunch of fake bot players on their servers. Well,
see, we have no reason. Ever since I started,
you have no reason for it.
Yeah. Ever since I started the server, kids have asked me to put us on voting lists and stuff. You should put it on the Minecraft list thing here and there, and you vote for it, and it gets higher up in the list. And I said, I don't want people to know about it.
Yeah. And
they said, what do you mean? I said, well, trolls go through those lists. They're looking for places, and if they see a server for autistic kids, I don't want those votes. I would rather we just I got 750 emails in the first 2 days by telling 300 people.
So it's right here.
Right?
Yeah. AutCraft. First rule of AutCraft: you don't talk about AutCraft.
That's right. Well, I kind of blew that out of the water when we started being interviewed by PC Gamer and doing TED Talks and stuff.
Right.
I kept it secret for a little while. It was Christmas 2014 when the local news showed up at my grandmother's house. I was visiting for Christmas. And they showed up at my grandmother's house and brought their cameras and interviewed me. And
were they like sleuthing you? It was like, where's this guy?
Yeah, because I was.
Are you Stuart Duncan? Where's your Grammy?
Yeah. Are you? Yeah, we want to interview you, but we're in Hamilton and you're way up north. And I said, well, I'm going to be down there for Christmas. And they're like, we'll come and visit you there. And I'm like, all right. But then BuzzFeed and PC Gamer and Good Morning America and Fox News, and it's just been crazy.
Yeah. And then you've invited some pretty awesome Minecraft YouTubers to join you who have done live streams or made videos about it. Doc M, Paul Soares Jr. and so you've kind of let the cat out of the bag at this point.
He came to visit, and Vintage Beef.
Yeah.
Steven Simon from Hypixel, he came to visit. It's been pretty crazy.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Noxie from Hightail. Yeah. They came to visit and talk with all the players and stuff. It's been, I've got like we have a page on our website that has just a list of all the visitors, and there's like 30 or 40.
Wow.
It's been pretty crazy, the support that we've got. And everybody says, can you invite this person? Can you invite log.zip to come and visit and everything? And I'm like, I never invited any of these people. They just show up for like the live streams and stuff. I'm forever grateful, but it was never an invite. The only person I ever invited and actually did come was Think Noodles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he came for my birthday one year.
Nice.
I don't know if he even plays Minecraft anymore. Does he play Minecraft anymore?
Not really.
Oh, I know.
But
Stifler has no idea who we're talking about.
No, Think Noodles. The
I
mouth.
gave him a pre-release of Diversity 2. Okay, cool guy.
No Think.
Think Noodles. He had Think Labs and played with Dan TDM a lot.
Yeah.
But most of the visitors we've ever had, Stampy and Squishy and Grian and Vintage Beef and a bunch of them, they all just showed up for like a live stream. When I did that 36-hour live stream at Best Buy for the world record, those guys showed up for that. So that was very exciting. We had like 70,000 viewers watching the stream.
That support is really awesome from all the different people and the YouTubers and streamers and everything. And I know that there's going to be definitely some server owners who are listening in because they have specifically asked to have more server owners on the podcast. And so they're going to be listening in right now. And I think one of the things that I want to take away from this, and I hope that they do as well, is you don't need to build a mini game server, a creative server to be popular. You don't need to be on voting lists or, have every skyblock or prisons or factions or anything like that in order to build a successful community. You don't need to bot your servers or anything like that to build a successful community. You have to just build a community to care about your community.
Sounds like something's hitting a nerve there, buddy.
No, nothing's hitting a nerve for me.
Getting deep.
But
you're absolutely correct. Like, I've never, like I said, I wanted it to be a secret, and yet here we are. Like, we had Paul Soares Jr. visit in October, and I started the server in June. So word gets out. Like, you do something special, and you care about it, and you care about the people. Like, one of the big complaints we always hear from players is that they get banned for nothing. Of course, it's never for nothing, but a lot of servers just don't want the drama. They don't want to deal with kids that are a problem, and so they'll just ban you rather than have to deal with it. Whereas on my server, I will spend hours and hours, weeks talking with somebody. We have players on who I've been talking to for months now because they have these certain quirks about them that, wouldn't allow them to play on other servers. They just can't.
Yeah.
This is it. And, you just have to care about them, help them. Like I said, like, we don't mute people as a punishment. We mute them to protect them from themselves so that nobody else gets mad at them. And we always talk to them afterwards and explain, this is what you did. This is what people are going to think about it. Here's how you could do better next time. And then they end up doing better next time, and they might get player of the week because they're not going to be muted anymore. But it's all about, putting in the time and actually caring. And then you don't have to invite the Stampies and Grim stuff. They hear about it, and they, like, when I started the server, before I ever opened the doors and made the announcement, I whitelisted Etho's Lab. Etho. He was my favorite YouTuber at the time. My kids and I watched. And I remember thinking, as I was sitting there placing blocks, building stuff, I was thinking I was probably going to have like 10 players max. and one day I would really like to give those 10 kids a really special, cool gift, is to bring them Etho or somebody like Etho that would come and visit them and make them the happiest kids in the world. And it was 2015, I'm going to say, something like that, when a whole bunch of Hermitcraft players, YouTubers, came just out of nowhere. I was doing my live stream, and then they were joining. They were in my stream asking to be whitelisted, and they came in and surprised everybody. And then Etho joined, but he never asked to be whitelisted. He never said he was going to be there. And if I had not whitelisted him way back in the day, as a thought, he probably would have hit that wall that said you're not whitelisted and just said, oh well, and I never would have known.
Everybody whitelist Etho on their servers. He might show up.
You never know. That's the thing, is have those goals as a server owner, but have the goals for the right reason. It was never for me. I mean, I watched him, but I always dreamed of doing this for the kids. Like, I didn't want to just give the kids a safe space. I wanted to do things for them. I wanted them to be happy. I wanted them to have something special, like, instead of taking them away from the bullies and saying, guess what? Now you can't play there anymore. You can only play here.
Right.
I wanted to say, now you can say, haha, we got Etho and all of Hermitcraft and Stampy and all these people to our server, and you didn't. Right.
Yep.
So it's not so bad going over to this one server and not the other one.
I love that. Well, yeah, and this will be my last comment, and then I want, Q, you can take it before we move on to our other segments. But that has been a subject that's come up recently. I've been talking with these other server owners, and we've been talking about bringing on YouTubers. Like, we've been discussing it, and why, some of us want to bring on YouTubers, some of us don't want to. How do you engage with YouTubers? We've been discussing this amongst all these servers, and I've mostly just been watching and listening. But you're giving the answer that I want to give. So it's if you care about people, you take care of people, you do something that inspires and is encouraging and is responsible. Other YouTubers are they take notice. They're noticing. They notice you. They want to come and be
it's
involved.
a much smaller community than people think it is. If you're doing something special and it has meaning, they'll hear about you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. They get pulled. Very cool. They get pulled in a million different directions. Everybody wants them to come to their server or to play with them or do whatever, answer their emails and stuff. But they don't have the time for all of that, so they're going to pick and choose.
Yeah.
So it's funny, actually. Something you mentioned earlier too about doing the same things everybody else, presents and factions and stuff. A lot of the kids on my server want to make their own server. They want it to be like AutCraft or like Hypixel. And so they're always asking me, what do I do? What do I do? How to make it big? And I said, well, don't be AutCraft or Hypixel. They said, what do you mean? I said, well, there already is an AutCraft and a Hypixel. So do something that isn't out there. Come up with something new. Come up with something that is needed. Something that people want. Like, try and figure out something that is totally unique so that when somebody hears about it and they want that, you're the only one doing it. So they have to go to you. Yeah. Right. Like, I can make another Hypixel, but why would I have more than 6 mini games on my server? I can't compete with Hypixel. Like, you can't start now and hope to do better. And it's just like all the other servers who are like, I want to start a server just like AutCraft and help kids with autism and stuff like that and everything. It's like, well, you're fighting an uphill battle now because we've been doing TED Talks and stuff. You're not going to compete. I'm sorry. But there's lots of other things that are needed in the world. So find it and do that.
That is so true, because I can right now, probably this afternoon, build a server that has all the same types of plugins or functionality that AutCraft does, but I cannot be Stuart Duncan, and I cannot be all the helpers and the buddies and the admins that you have in your community. I can't do that. Right. I can probably build a minigame server like Hypixel, but I won't be Simon or, have that community there or the games or the competition or anything like that. Right. So like, you can build a prisons or factions or whatever, but you will not be able to replicate a community. So build a community, build what is needed out there.
What's passionate to you, what people need and want. Yeah.
Good word.
I went to a convention in New York last year. They were talking about all kinds of games and stuff like that. And I don't even remember where I'm going with that.
It's okay.
But it was basically that. Yeah. Like, lost my train of thought.
We'll come back to it.
And you saw a frog. It was in the void and you saved it.
That sucks. I forget what I was going to say, but it was along those lines was, if a guy in Northern Canada with no money and no time and never started a Minecraft server or whatever can just see people saying, I wish they had this. I wish there was this.
Yeah.
The only difference between me and anybody else is that I just didn't wish for it. I just did it.
You just did it.
And I figured it out as I went. Like, there's so many people out there who have, a lot of money, a lot of time. They have the resources. They've had servers before, or they have like a PhD, or they've worked with kids with autism, or, a million things that makes them way more qualified than me. But none of them did it.
Yep.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Somebody was asking about a server for kids with Down syndrome. They said they came to me and said, you should start a server for kids with Down. There's so many of them and they love Minecraft too. And I said, why don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll help you, but why
You're only one guy.
Well,
You're only one guy.
It's just instead of looking to somebody else, why is everybody else looking to somebody else? You should start a server for kids. So should you.
Yeah. I get you. I have this mentality of like, instead of trying to get someone to do something for you, be encouraging so that you motivate people to do something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
or figure it out yourself. Like I said, I never had a Minecraft server. I knew about servers, but I never had a Minecraft server or knew anything about plugins. I had to figure out stuff on the fly, like how to protect regions and get mobs to spawn where I wanted them to and stuff like that. That was all foreign to me, but I figured it out as I went.
Yep. I'm with you 1 bajillion%. Like everything about what you just said, I'm totally in. But my favorite quote, and I actually want to get a part of it, or like a tattoo. It might be my only tattoo if I ever get one. It'll be this, not this whole thing, but a short version.
Okay.
But my favorite quote is, he who has never failed somewhere, that man cannot be great. True. And so you've got to just go, just do it, just make it happen. Mm-hmm. And if you're waiting for somebody else to make it happen, it might never happen.
You're going to be waiting for the right time, for the right moment, for the right opportunity, to finally have enough money or whatever. And it's never going to happen. That's just, it's not out there. So
there will always be, bills that have to be paid or events that are coming up, or, you might get sick or lose a job or whatever. There's always a reason or a bad time for everything. So just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. I want to talk with you. We're like way over time. I want to keep talking with you because I love this. But I need to step back. Q, you have any last questions or comments before we go on?
We can move on. We can move on to question from the pond if you want.
Question from the pond. Hey, that sounds good.
New segment, which recently started a Discord server. What?
thevoidfrogs.com/Discord.
There you go.
The pond.
Yep. Nice. And what we do is we never tell anybody who our guest is going to be. We just give them obscure clues, and they have to ask a question, and we pick a question. So, question this week, they have no idea who you are. They're asking this question. Okay? That's it, Joe. This is for you from the pond. Rebel JC, who's going to feel bad because he recorded his question in a different question in a different video, but we're not using that one. We're using his text question.
Okay.
Anyway, he says, what advice would you give to a new Minecraft server owner who wants to maintain a wholesome and accepting experience for players?
A wholesome experience.
I think a new server owner means never done it before. It's kind of my thought, but
a lot of advice actually. Mostly listen to a lot of things. Listen for the good stuff that people are doing as well as the bad. Listen to other server owners and what advice they have to give and what has worked for them and what hasn't. Listen to the suggestions from your players. Your players know what they want more than you do. It's not always good suggestion. Everybody wants a Skyblock server added on. You don't have to listen to every suggestion, but they might have suggestions like, splitting up the chat or something, or having chat channels. That's and then listen to their problems. So, whether or not they're having problems with other players, whether or not they're having problems in real life, whether or not, it's coming out in some other form, like them being angry or spamming the chat because they're, upset or something. Take the time to ask them what's wrong. How can I help?
Yeah.
Just listen. And it goes back to what we said before is to actually care about each person and not just see them as a number, not just say, we always have 50 people on, we have 12,000 people on the way. Those are numbers. And people just start thinking about numbers. Oh, this one out of the 50 is causing problems. We got to ban that one, so the other 49 are okay, and blah, blah, blah. But each one of those people, it really, really starts to hit home once you've built the community and you've established the trust and you start getting pictures of these sweet little adorable little faces with their little fingers on their keyboards, and they're little human beings who are happy as can be for the first time playing in a Minecraft server, because every other experience has just been so heart-wrenching and brutal. And so when you start to either visualize, or you actually get lucky enough to actually see these little kids, being so happy, seeing fireworks on New Year's Eve on your server, listen to them. They're real life human beings and they want to be with you on your server. And I think that's worth listening to them for. So that's how you make an actual community that cares.
I was going to say, cool. If it was me in your shoes and they wanted a Skyblock server, I would literally put a block of stone at height 250 and say, there you go. You have Skyblock. It's a block in the sky. No more requests. We've done it.
You can't build on it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Rebel JC, for the question. Submit your question.
Yeah, you can submit your question.
In Discord.
I have to warn you, it does take time, though. You can't just, a lot of people think you can just press start on a Minecraft server and then build a couple games on it or whatever and walk away and it's just going to grow. it's not how it is. It takes time and dedication. I've been doing this for 7 years. It's my income, and I'm still putting in 18 hours a day, no holidays. I'm on for my birthday. I'm on for Christmas. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
You
It's
need a
not like
holiday, Stuart. You need a holiday.
yeah. No, I don't remember. I don't even remember what those are like. But
I hate to say I'm on one finally this week.
nice.
So,
Congratulations. That's good.
thank you.
But like, and any entrepreneur, real entrepreneur, will tell you, you don't start your own business so you can work less. You end up working
Yeah.
a lot more. You don't do 9 to 5. You don't do 40 hours a week when it's your business. You do a whole lot more than that. And if you want your server to actually succeed, if you want your players to feel like they're important and valuable, it's going to take some time.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Good stuff. Solid stuff. Well, I think it's time we gotta move on to the next segment. This is great. I love this. I don't want to cut any of this. This might be our longest episode. This might have to be because everything is so good.
There's still so many things that we haven't touched on.
Seriously though. Seriously. We're gonna have to talk afterwards for like, I'm gonna try and steal you for 5 more minutes after the show.
Sure,
I got questions asked. We got rapid fire. I don't know if Q had another name for it, but rapid fire is our next segment.
All right.
5 questions. Are you ready for this, Q?
Like rapid fire.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's the rapid is what.
Rabbit.
Ribbit fire. Ribbit fire.
That
Void
makes more
frogs.
sense. Yeah.
Ribbit fire. 5 random questions for you, Stuart.
All right.
Unrelated to whatever. Just goofy, fun questions. You've not been asked any of these in any interview, probably anything in your life. So get ready.
All right.
I hope.
Are you ready?
If I have, I've had a pretty interesting life. All right.
Have been asked any of these questions, I will be very surprised. Okay.
All right.
Question number 1. What invention would you uninvent and why?
What invention would I uninvent and why?
Mm-hmm.
I would uninvent. Wow, that is a tough question.
This is why we changed it from rapid fire.
Yeah.
Page 17 on the Google search for random hypothetical questions.
I would uninvent the microwave.
The microwave?
The microwave.
And why?
Wow.
Because as much as I like reheated food or stuff I could just buy in the frozen section and heat up or whatever, it does not and will never replace a good home cooked meal or even takeout or a restaurant meal. Like actual prepared food on a stove or an oven or something. Like, just, I think it made people not only lazy but enjoy life less. Like food is amazing. Food's one of my favorite hobbies, and I love a good, like, when I travel, when I went to Singapore and stuff, I tried everything I could possibly find. Everything, durian and suckling pig and all that.
Wow.
Everything that they had to offer, I wanted to try it because I wanted to see what. And that, to me, that's life. And if you're reheating, chicken strips or something, then are you really living? So
what about is that on your list of no-nos, or is that like okay, we'll let it go?
Sorry, what?
What about the toaster oven? Is that on the list of no-nos? Is that sort of okay?
Yeah, toaster's okay. Toaster's okay, and same with like air fryer. Air fryer is okay too, because it's still those follow the same principles as an oven. It's actually using real heat and not just microwaves to.
All right, fair enough.
It's still a form of cooking.
I have no comment because I would starve without a microwave.
Yeah, well, see, but that's the thing, is it would be uninvented, so you never would have known it in the first place. You would have been actually cooking your meals right from the start and enjoying your food a whole lot more. So,
or grumbling the whole time. Maybe. Yeah. I think you might be right. Hopefully. Question number 2. Question number 2.
Then I would suffer. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Question 2.
That one hits close to home for me. But it's okay. It's okay.
You might be barbecuing more often.
Ooh, hey, now I'm into that. I'm into that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good call. Good shout right there. The second question is actually an interesting one because it's a nod back to previous guests that we have just for fun. But you ride up on a motorcycle like a good biker dude. sunglasses, leather armor jacket, revving your engine. As you pull up past some adults, you look over and give them a nod. Then pull something out of your pocket to give to them so they know just how cool you are. What is it?
Rubber chicken.
Okay.
My favorite part about that is there's like no hesitation. You're just like that's it.
That's right.
The rubber
Okay.
chicken.
Cool.
I grew up on the Muppets.
Yeah.
I lived the Muppets life. Yeah.
There's
That's cool.
There's have you ever seen Bongo Kitty, the YouTube
Yes.
channel?
Yeah.
And the rubber.
Yeah. Hey man, you can't go wrong with rubber chicken. Everybody
Yeah.
enjoys a good rubber chicken.
All
You
right.
know?
Well, the
with
next
you.
question you can't answer rubber chicken for.
Oh.
Number 3. AutismFather's awesome sword is now awesomely in real life. Whoever you bestow it upon gets the powers of the sword. What are these powers?
Do you want to know what on the actual sword on my server, or do you want me to just come up with?
could say. Well, I mean, you could say what your server sword is. We're going for in real life, but if you want
Yep.
to transfer that into the real world,
Well, on the server, it has all the best enchants a sword can get, but it also has some that you can't get. So it has looting 5.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it has sharpness and smite at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a very
it sounds
extra
like
special.
a hack. Sounds
It's
like
breaking
a hack.
rules.
Game there, Stuart.
It is our ultimate prize on the server. It goes to the players who consistently put the community above and beyond themselves.
Mhm.
It's like a whole other level of just being kind. But in real life, the person who gets the sword, I would say, because they would never actually use it, it would grant them extra luck.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
I like it. That's why it's the awesome sword.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was hoping you're gonna say
it's-
like looting. So like when they
Nope.
cut the grass, it grows even further or something like that.
No, that would give you extra grass grass clippings
seeds.
all over. So then you'd be like, instead of 20 bags of grass, you'd end up with like 80 bags. That would not be beneficial
Yeah,
at all.
no, looting's kind of a bad thing. Like
That
if
would
you
be
go
a
to
bad
get your hair cut,
Yeah.
and like use a looting sword on your hair, like it's like 5 times the amount fall on the floor, and the hairdresser doesn't want to cut your hair anymore with
You
that sword.
accidentally cut yourself and you bleed 5 times as much.
Oh my gosh.
That's not good. That's not a good sword to have.
No.
So AutCraft is PvP off. And I'm a big believer in everybody being kind and beneficial towards each other. So it'd be a very passive sword to have. So you would just have an extra luck boost.
Good luck.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Question number 4. Ted has invited you to come and give another talk.
Oh no.
But he has a rule that you can't say anything at all related to your last one. What is your topic?
What is my topic if I can't talk about the only thing I've ever talked about for the last 7 years? I would have to talk about my next biggest, most heartfelt passion in my life. Chicken wings.
Oh.
Chicken wings.
Oh, chicken wings are amazing. You can start a restaurant just on chicken wings and the hundreds and hundreds of flavors that you can offer them in.
Yeah.
And then you double that by having bone-in or boneless.
Yeah.
Chicken wings.
And you use the awesome sword to cut you get twice
Exactly.
as much chicken wings.
Exactly. You bring the sword with you with an extra luck bonus, and when you order a dozen, you might get a 13th.
Ooh.
So,
I am a huge fan. So I will say I'm a huge fan of chicken wings. However, I can't eat bone chicken wings. I gotta go boneless. I can't do the bone in. It's just too messy for me.
So you like chicken nuggets, basically, is what you're saying.
I like chicken. I like chicken nuggets in a microwave. That's let me go with that.
Yep.
What's your preferred
chicken wing?
Yeah.
There's a restaurant near here that serves Cajun. They're dry chicken wings, and they're basically just a couple different kinds of pepper, like black pepper, Cajun pepper, chili pepper on it, and they mark it as being hot, but it's really not. It's basically, I describe it as if you just have a mental picture of what a regular grilled chicken wing is going to taste like. That's it. And
Nice.
I love every single flavor, all of them, dill pickle and the barbecues and the super hot one. I love them all, but I always just keep going back to this one Cajun flavor because it's kind of like getting coffee flavored coffee. You're getting chicken wing flavored chicken wings. It's like, wait, it actually tastes like chicken wings. That doesn't taste like something else. So yeah, that's what I go for. Yeah.
Since you guys are in Canada, you just remind me. I'll throw this little thing at you. What I've heard, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but the word Cajun is actually from a group of Canadians who went south to the U.S. to New Orleans, and it's Cajun is where it ended up going from.
They are French down there. Yeah, they came from Canada down to the south and settled.
Then the Cajun went back to you, so now it just went home. Yeah, that's all.
Full circle. Yeah. But yeah, beautiful. New Orleans and the whole area, it's all French Bayou and stuff like that. So that's where they came from. Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, that was pre-Canada. There was no Canada then, but yeah.
Yeah. History.
Okay. Numero 5.
Speaking of French.
That's as much as you get. You are given the power to end all wars, Stuart, for the future of all humanity by your true superpower, enabling animals to talk. Which animal would be the key to preventing the human problems, and what would it say or do?
Wow.
That's a big question.
Yeah, this is supposed to be.
And have you ever been asked that question before?
Funny enough, I have asked that question. I have been asked if I could talk to animals or insects, which I would talk to. But which one would have the answer to world peace is basically what you're asking me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would have to say
it's big thinking right now.
Big thinking, yeah.
Like, there's only one.
You managed to shut me up in an interview. I thought you were supposed to get me to talk.
Don't worry, we'll cut out all the silence.
The panda is extremely strong and can get very violent.
I was hoping you were going to go this way through tyranny, right?
No, it's passive. It doesn't even eat meat.
It's so strong, it would kill everybody if they didn't stop fighting.
That's exactly the opposite of what.
Like just human peace because they're afraid.
It's the fact that it has that potential.
Yeah.
It literally could, if there was enough pandas, just like pretty much any other bear.
Yeah,
could destroy us. Like they're like nature's perfect weapon is what they call the grizzly bear, right?
Wow.
Pandas are extremely powerful, but they eat bamboo.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're the ultimate yin and yang symbol, good and evil. Like they have the potential to kill they're in zoos without walls, without protection and stuff because they're so passive. But if they decided one day, that's it. That's it for everybody in the zoo. There would be
basically you're
I don't know what
all of world peace on the risk of you gotta get along because these pandas might snap one day. That's basically what you're saying.
No. The second part of the question is what would they say? And the answer to that is I have no idea. But whatever it is they say will be extremely profound because they've found a way to be peaceful and to live coexisting with nature and, to not use the force that they have, for violence or for harm. So
you had to make it all melancholy, sincere, and I'm like, come on, just make it like everyone's afraid of this animal. They don't want to fight anymore.
If it turns out that humanity is too stupid to listen, which is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
then they just turn savage and kill us all. So
Now I'm just thinking of
There
like
you go. You got your answer, Q.
Your answer.
pandas and tanks and things like.
pandas and they don't need tanks. They are tanks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Well, there you go.
that's pretty great.
That
As
was-
a
Panda fire.
Panda Fire. Wait, that was a previous guest that we had on.
Oh, there you go. You know what's funny is I actually on my server I created a data pack I call Jeb all the things, and so what it does is it Jebs all the things. So if you name something Jeb _ just like the sheep, it'll cycle through all the different versions of the panda. It'll cycle through all the different colors of the llama or the cats, even the bunnies. All the rabbits change, and one of them is a killer bunny. So you can have a pet bunny, and when it cycles to that one, it'll try and attack you. But it does all the parrots, all that different stuff.
He like jumps at you and then all of a sudden turns back. It's like, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah, and then it's fine again. But anyway, I bring this up because the panda was the first one I did, and so we have community wither fights on the server, huge wither fights, and at the end we always had the Jeb sheep as balloons, the victory balloons, because they were colorful. So when we added the Jeb pandas, we included the Jeb pandas with the Jeb balloons as a victory thing. The problem is if you try to hurt a panda, even in the game, it'll straight up kill you. So we ended up with all these players dying during the celebration. Which only, goes to strengthen my answer all the more. When they're balloons, when they're just changing, they're peaceful as can be, and you can give them a cake or a bamboo, and they're friendly. But if you try to attack them, good luck.
And they'll come up to you, they'll drop some profound wisdom on you, and then roll off into the distance. Because that's what they do. They just roll away. Well, awesome. Hey, thank you for playing Panda Fire, Rabbit Fire, Rapid Fire. We have one last segment.
All right.
And this is the one that a lot of our viewers during the live premieres say is their favorite segment. So there's a lot of pressure on you right now, okay?
Yeah.
Do not let them down.
Ruin this for so many people. All right.
This is Void Frogs Trivia.
So far, I'm not seeing the appeal.
We have 5 questions for you, and there are correct and incorrect answers. There's also a timer in my head, which I will count down, so you have a certain amount of time, kind of. Now, this week, the category is an interesting one this week. What I have written down here is you started off as just a regular guy who wanted to make a small server for some kids that you care about.
Yeah.
Then that server exploded. So today, we are shouting out the little guys who achieved big things.
Oh.
That's our category today.
For trivia.
Trivia. It's a big, long descriptor.
In the back of your mind.
All right.
Little guys I've never heard of that I'm going to have to be able to know. All right.
Little guys you've never heard of. None of them are pants.
That's right. Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Ready.
Oh, it's me. I asked the first
question. You got to ask the question before I can answer it.
Question number 1. All
right.
First published in 1964, this famous cartoon superhero character, a parody of Superman and voiced by Wally Cox, had a memorable line he always said before springing into action. Finish his line. There's no need to
fear. Mighty Mouse is here. There's no need to fear. Who was that? It wasn't Mighty Mouse. That's all I can remember. No need to fear.
And then, but you are so close, but it's not Mighty Mouse.
Remember, it's about the little guys who
was
right.
It was the other mouse, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
No,
I don't know.
Kind of the other non-mouse.
Have to
the
give
other
up.
Non-mouse.
Have to give up. I can't remember who it was. I mean, I know it. If you asked me this 30 years ago, I would tell you.
Yeah, it's an older one. Underdog
is
here.
Yeah.
Yep.
underdog.
Mighty Mouse was a good answer. I forget Mighty Mouse's thing.
Mighty Mouse
was something similar though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See, I
principle, that mouse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always thought that Underdog said, "Have no fear. Underdog is here." But he says there is no need to fear. It's one of those things. I had the quote wrong in my head the whole time. Anyway,
kind of like a Star Wars thing.
Yeah. Hey, that was question number 1. You have 4 chances to go.
All right.
You've got this. You've got this. I believe in you.
During the 1980 Olympics, I know you're a huge fan of the 1980 Olympics, Stuart.
Of course.
Possibly the greatest upset in all of sporting history happened with the miracle on ice as the U.S. hockey team stole the win. I don't like this question already, Stifler. You guys are not a Canadian hockey team.
Yeah.
With a narrow 4-3 score. As they won, sports announcer Al Michaels screamed, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes! What nation did Team USA face off against in this game? This isn't really part of our history, Stuart. You know what?
Let me I'll give you like a humongous clue. The humongous clue ever. This nation was a rival to the US in many, many, many different ways.
Yeah.
It
wasn't Team Canada, right?
No.
It was Russia. Soviet Union.
Ding! Correct. Soviet Union was what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Listen, those aren't on. Stuart knows what I'm talking about when I say part of our heritage commercials, right? We got the Canadian team on that one.
I just want
to dive.
I wrote that question for Q to ask, but I didn't realize that you were Canadian, Stuart, so I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's quite all right.
I'm sitting here going, like, hockey is our thing.
We can't win them all.
The only reason, like, any U.S. teams win the cup is because they have Canadians on their team. That's why.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to question 3. For generations, The Lord of the Rings has been an epic tale about the smallest members of the world, in this case, the hobbits, leading the charge to do great things. J.R.R. Tolkien, the author, held several different jobs while writing and imagining his stories and characters. Name one of his other jobs besides author.
Because you're a massive J.R.R. Tolkien fan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and stuff, but I don't know him, what he did.
I have a hint for you.
Yeah.
If you want it.
Yes, definitely need a hint.
Did you are you aware of something that within the books, throughout all of the books that he's written, he created something specifically for the books that's totally unique? It
was called a Lord of the Rings.
It was called a language. He was creating languages for the book.
Oh yeah, the Elvish language.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Klingon, by the way.
That would have been much more exciting.
Hey, Elvish is exciting. It's beautiful.
So what? He was like a linguist, professor.
Hey, a professor and a linguist. Very well done.
Wow.
Professor was actually what I was hoping to hear. But
cool.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
You've got 2 out of 3 so far.
With a little help.
Well, I don't have
you
to
should hear the help that last week we had a question about tea, the drink, and Q's hint was it's a letter of the alphabet.
Well, it had a 1 in 26 chance of getting that correct.
Yeah. So,
and I also said I didn't say it was the English alphabet. It could have done Greek. Then there's even more letters to choose from.
You know,
so
some would say that that we do the trivia for our audience. Our guest, we'll give them the answers, but we want to see if our audience can actually figure it out.
Okay, audience.
I'm sure it's fun to play along.
Here's the question.
Yep.
Early in the history of the country, another U.S. question for me.
Yes.
The U.S. entered another war. Oh, we don't want to get political here.
That could be any time in its history, really.
Yeah.
Another colony of with another colony of Great Britain. They're so great. This time with their neighbors to the north, the best country, Canada,
The War
was
of
attacked
1812.
several times, but did not give up. They survived. They brought their hockey sticks. That's not part of the question. Even though they were vastly outnumbered by U.S. troops, they fought hard and stopped the invaders from taking control of the colony. What was the name of this war?
I already said it.
What did you say?
He did.
The War of 1812.
Yep.
Oh, I was telling a joke and I interrupted you.
We burned down the White House.
Hey.
Yeah, that's why it's
we
still
don't
white.
need to get into details. I was just letting, Q have a moment.
Did you know that Toronto was originally named York, and right now it's in the York region? And so when the United States couldn't take over and they had their own city south of the border, it was New York.
That's where that
the
comes
ultimate,
from.
Like, I'm taking
What?
my toys home.
That's a good choice. I'm gonna make my own better
ours
York.
is New York.
When you enter Toronto,
Yeah.
just before the sign that says "Welcome to Toronto," it says you're entering the region of the York region. It's York.
Wow.
I didn't realize that was what that was.
Is that why you?
Of course, Toronto, did the same thing because York is actually over in England.
Yeah.
So then there was York here.
And then in Futurama, they did New York, which is
New
over
York, that's
top
right.
of New York.
You guys
So-
also took London.
Yes, London, Ontario. We have Paris, Ontario. Yeah. We're not very original around here.
Pretty great. Is that why you did your TEDx talk? Was TEDx York?
Yeah, it was at Toronto. It was at
Nice.
the university in Toronto, and it was TEDx York. Yeah.
That was
Very cool.
That was the question I forgot to ask you. I wanted to know out of the entire interview. The one thing I wanted to know.
Glad you remembered then.
TEDx.
Yeah.
What were those letters made of?
Oh, on the stage?
Yeah.
They were bristle board?
The board, man. I love giant letters. I just want to know. What they
Yeah,
were.
it's hollow inside. It's just boards that painted red. Just pick them up and move them around.
So cool. Put them in your room. Put my
I
own name on there.
I watched hundreds. Like I tell you, TED Talks. I learned about touchscreens in TED Talks, watching people talk about it. And I was like, that's never going to be a thing in my lifetime. That's that's magic right there. And now we have touchscreens. But that's how I learned about stuff I never in my entire life imagined I would be standing up there on a dot, especially for Minecraft. To this day, if you go to TED.com and search for Minecraft, my video is the only one that's on there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I never in my wildest dreams imagined that I would be standing up in front of the TED sign with the TED carpet under me. It was amazing.
It's a totally surreal experience, huh?
Very, very, yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
All right. So
all right. Question number 5. We got the one last question here. 3 out of 4 so far. Question number 5. Here is a description from IMDb of a hilariously good family movie released in 2008.
Oh.
It's the story about a lazy, irreverent slacker named Poe, who is the biggest fan of Kung Fu around, which doesn't exactly come in handy while working every day in his family's noodle shop. Unexpectedly chosen to fulfill an ancient prophecy, Poe's dreams become reality when he joins the world of Kung Fu and studies alongside his idols, the legendary Furious 5. What is the movie?
Kung Fu Panda. Love that.
What are the chances? We didn't even know you were into pandas before that.
Congratulations. Yeah, good job. Good job. I am proud of you. 4 out of 5. You know, you started off, there was a little bit of a struggle there for the question, but you came back, which is exactly the energy we were trying to embody with this category.
Which is like the essence of the underdog. So which means
that's right.
Starting basically got question 1 right, and I'm giving you a perfect score.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Man, so cool.
I need teachers like you in school.
Yeah. everybody gets to win in my books.
I like it.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Stuart, thank you so much for being here today. This has been such a pleasure chatting with you. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of things that I didn't know that I needed to learn. And I look forward to learning more from you in the future. This whole week, like researching you, watching your videos, I've learned so much, and seriously can't wait to learn more from you.
If
Them.
there's one thing, sorry to interrupt. There's one thing
No,
I've
no,
always
no, no.
told people from having started this. When we got the article in PC Gamer magazine, that was probably the biggest news story we've had in terms of sheer volume, because
Yeah.
other people wrote stories from that story. And so I ended up writing on my website and my Facebook page, hello, thank you for coming to visit. I'm glad you heard about us and everything. But the finishing paragraph was essentially, if any part of my story, if any part of what I've done or what I'm doing or any of the stuff I tell you, if any of it inspires you or just gives you a good sense of like a feeling of goodness, or makes you wish there was more of this sort of thing, like a server like mine or people who cared, then don't just turn it off and say that was nice. Instead, realize that all there was between me and you, the only difference was, instead of saying I wish there was that, is I actually went ahead and did it, even though I wasn't ready and I didn't know how.
Yeah.
So take inspiration and do something with it, rather than just say how nice.
I wish I
That
could
is
eat pizza. Oh, I'm gonna go and eat pizza.
that is
Absolutely.
a great word to end on. I'm glad you interrupted me to say that. I don't even consider it an interrupting. That was awesome. We are actually going to have links to your TEDx talk and your YouTube channel and Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. But Stuart, could you please tell everybody where to find you? And actually, if you don't mind, start off telling people, if they are interested in joining the server, where they can do that whitelist application and come and be a part of your community.
Yeah, it's AutCraft.com, www.autcraft.com, AUTCRAFT, AutCraft.
Cool.
The whitelist application is there. There's a whole wiki full of information and testimonials, and you read all kinds of stuff. There's a video that I just recently did on where the server has come and gone in the last 7 years, and
Nice.
and lots of links to other stuff, just like you were saying. So I mean, there's plenty to research and know about before you ever step onto the server.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the link to the whitelist application.
Excellent. And then,
because Stuart's, I'm going to vouch for him. There's a donate button, guys. Seriously,
Yeah.
help out.
Yep,
it would be much appreciated. Like I said, I started this in June 2013 and ran it alongside my full-time job. So I was doing 14, 15-hour days and a full-time job until October 2015, and that's when I started my Patreon and basically reached out to the community and said, look, I need to either focus on my job so I can take care of me and my kids, or I need to focus on the server so that I can take care of me and my kids and your kids.
Yeah.
Because I can't, like, when a child is really upset in the middle of the night and needs somebody to talk to, I need to be there, but I can't lose my job over it. And so that's when I started the Patreon, and the community responded and they donated and stuff. And ever since then, it's been my job. So it's my only source of income is through donations for the server.
Well, people go over there and show him some love, show him some support, and tell him with $1 or more you want to see him keep doing this and be happy and healthy. And then how about for following you, Twitter?
AutismFather. I'm AutismFather everywhere. Facebook,
Everywhere.
Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, AutismFather.
Go and find him. Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of kids like to change their names a lot. A lot of people like to just pick a random name or whatever, but I very strongly believe in branding. When somebody knows, especially now, like when you get to a point, like you never even know. I didn't know I was going to be doing TED Talks or interviewed by podcasts and magazines and stuff. So, I mean, that one day that might happen. And if you haven't like got one name and you got that name established as your brand all different places, then that could backfire. You never know what will happen. So pick something and stick with it, so that if that does happen.
I thought you were going to go with Autism Goku or something.
I think that name is taken.
Oh, okay.
But AutismFather wasn't. See, that's autism. That name right there.
There were not very many dads back then talking about autism. So
wow.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Q. Any last questions before we go?
I mean, there's like 50 that we didn't get to. Something about a symbol. I don't know what that's about. But anyway.
Oh yeah, what does this symbol mean? What is this symbol? We can't. We gotta.
The AutCraft logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so the big symbol for autism back like 10 years ago was a puzzle piece, but a lot of people hate that symbol. It was actually created by, a corporation mainly to drum up. So I wanted to still sort of use that to like invoke thoughts of that, but not actually be a puzzle piece. But mostly I wanted it to be kind of like a spade, like a playing card spade.
Yeah.
So it kind of uses both at the same time, just to kind of like, I don't know, like I'm a big believer in getting in somebody's head and giving them something that they're going to remember later.
Yeah.
And if I use those two already established symbols and kind of piece them together. So I actually went to a graphic designer and said, here's my idea. And she came up with that. So.
It is definitely a good symbol. I'm so glad that you brought that up, Q. Like, I really wanted to ask about that. And
funny thing about that is she actually brought it to me, and it's not perfect. If you look along the left-hand side on the right on the inside where the letters are, the two edges don't actually match up. It's not perfectly smooth.
And she thought it was perfect. You're like, that's not actually perfect. Oh no!
She actually brought it up, and I said, you know what? Leave it. I kind of like it that it's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's
on.
It's kind of symbolic of how we are. We're not perfect, but it's okay.
Well,
depends who you talk to.
You are certainly memorable, like the logo is as well. And thank you again, Stuart, so much for being here. For all of you who are listening in, thank you for being here as well. We look forward to seeing you around in the live premiere chat. Hello to all of you. You can find us at thevoidfrogs.com, where you can see this episode and all the others. Twitter.com/thevoidfrogs, YouTube.com/thevoidfrogs. We're on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, and I think that might be it. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you all around later. Have a good one.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.